So ladies and gentlemen, now for AI for Trust, Transparency and Greater Good, human-centric lessons from Denmark, we've got Sandra Jensen Landi, Ambassador to Singapore, Royal Danish Embassy, Singapore. Well, Sandra has held numerous positions in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Denmark, including 4 years as the private secretary to the foreign minister and positioning at the Danish embassies in Kathmandu, Kabul, Washington, D.C., and the Deputy Head of Mission in Bangkok, Thailand. Thank you so much, Sandra, for joining us today. Over to you.
Thank you very much. And thank you to Dr. Ben for a really enlightening presentation before. I can tell you that I will bring a different perspective. I learned so much from this presentation, and I'm now going to study the super intelligent revolution after this. I tell you, that was a very, very interesting speech. I'm going to give you a presentation that's much more from a government perspective, so it will be a little bit different. But first of all, thank you so much for having me on this panel, and thank you to my fellow panelists, to the participants behind the screens, to the innovators and policymakers. Good day to you all, regardless of time zone you're in out there. I'll make it simple. I'll start with the conclusion. Digitization in Denmark is not about technology. It is about empowering citizens. It's about human needs. So every digitization effort we have rolled out across Denmark's public sector for the last 20 years, where we have tried to enhance our digitization, has been focused on seeking to create opportunities and prosperity for people. So our policies are basically aimed at putting the citizens in control of his or her own data and to make free and accessible data available to improve everyday living and to drive corporate innovation as well. And why do we think this is important? Well, artificial intelligence already influences our lives and economy in a multitude of ways. AI applications, they filter our unwanted emails, they automatically recognize photos of our friends on social media, and they spot cancer cells, they control air traffic, they determine our creditworthiness, and they do a lot more things that I won't even be able to explain you, but I think Dr. Ben has some more exciting details there. But we're still at the beginning of the AI revolution, as the previous speaker just made it very clear. This we will also hear much more about today from a lot of the coming speakers, because AI will reshape our industries, our jobs, and our lives in the coming years. It has the potential. It has a lot of potential. It can boost our GDP. It can increase productivity. It can increase our innovation. But it also offers an opportunity to fundamentally improve human well-being, including making lives healthier, longer, and live with more leisure. And that is really a key point. We believe that well-being and human prosperity are determining factors in ensuring long-term sustainable growth. So growth itself does not ensure our long-lasting prosperity. So we have to keep our focus here. Most of our corporate solutions and tech startups are born out of a tradition where data ethics, the trust, transparency, and tech for the greater good is front and center. And we would like to keep it that way. So we believe that these core ideas and principles are really key to understanding why Denmark is a global digital frontrunner today. We're Europe's #1 in ease of doing business, and we have retained our global lead in the Digital Economy and Society Index. So the infrastructure is now in place to use data, to tap and to engage consumers, to work together and with world-class research institutions to strengthen commercialization and product pipeline. Let me give you 2 examples from Danish AI innovations employed in our healthcare sector with immediate impact for patients. So the Radiobotics is one. It's an award-winning Danish company that focuses on developing algorithms for hospitals to automate reading of X-rays of bones and joints. Radiobotics use machine learning to build clinical AI solutions that replicate the work of an expert radiologist and deliver more consistent analysis than visual inspections. So it started up as a dream for a young group of radiologists, health physics, tech geeks, and Mario Kart aficionados, and it is now recognized as one of Europe's top 50 digital entrepreneurs. So as Dr. Ben said, you never know where the next technological revolution comes from. Radiobotics is making a clear difference now for patients all over the world by building the future of augmented healthcare technology. Another example is Corti. Corti is a Danish startup that can predict heart failure over the phone using AI and speech recognition. So Corti's AI component act as a digital assistant for dispatchers of emergency vehicles, so the ones taking the emergency calls. The software uses automatic speech recognition to analyze the calls in situations where every minute and seconds counts. So basically, based on data from millions of previous calls, it looks for signs of cardiac arrest, including both verbal and nonverbal. So tone of voice, breathing patterns, all the little signs. So during the call, the software provides the dispatchers with suggestions for questions to ask and recommendations for actions. So it's already deployed in Copenhagen, and the positive difference is indisputable. When researchers at the emergency department, they tested the technology on 161,000 emergency calls from the Danish capital, it was clear that the technology was 93% accurate in identifying cardiac arrest. And this compared to a human dispatchers only getting it 73% right. So it's very clear, AI can outperform human judgment in life or death situations. And in Denmark, this will really make a difference. In Denmark, there are 3,500 out-of-hospital cardiac arrests a year. This is a population of similar size to Singapore. In the UK, there's 30,000, and in the US, it's more than 350,000 a year. So human lives matters. This is really, the impact of this technology could be huge. So how do these examples link back to Denmark's tech philosophy? And what can we learn from them? Well, first of all, they're born out of a belief that technology enhances human strength and makes up for human shortcomings. Secondly, they tell us that accessibility and democratization of data is really key to move tech development from profit to people, and from multinational conglomerates to small-scale creators. So basically, data democracy simply boosts our innovation ability. And finally, these examples prove that public-private partnerships are well suited for AI and technology implementation, because in the public sector, we have a lot of data that can be used in this way. So, and it's a very good sector to start with if you want to work for the common good. So, and this is my last point, partnerships. We need cooperation across the board to ensure that our societies and businesses are able to fully utilize new technologies in an ethical way. So Denmark, we are calling for such collaboration, not only within our own country, but also globally, because these are a lot of problems that can be addressed across borders. In 2017, we were the first country worldwide to appoint a tech ambassador. And she has a global mandate to engage with the tech industry on societal changes driven by digital disruption, recognizing that these big actors are often more influential than governments today, and that we need to have a conversation with them about how do we see the ethics of this sector going forward. So this was the birth of techplomacy, as we call it. It's a new way for states to address the rise of tech giants' influence and to elevate digitalization to a foreign policy priority. And in March last year, we launched the National Strategy for AI. The vision is very clear. We want to be a global frontrunner with a basis of democratic value and a human-centric focus. So the strategy sets out to find a common ethical foundation for artificial intelligence by bringing together the researchers, the companies, the public sectors, the startups, everyone around the table. And our aim is to develop commonly adopted principles across all levels of society with humans at the center. The principles are still to be defined, and this is where I ask for your experiences, and I will listen carefully to the discussion following this. Because how do we ensure that new systems enable societies and support human rights instead of limiting or misguiding human autonomy? And how do we ingrain diversity and fairness in AI applications? How do we make the most of artificial intelligence to enhance societal well-being and sustainable development? There's so many ways we can apply these new technologies, so let's get it right. There are also more questions and answers at this stage, I think, but we need to define an ethical framework with some common guidelines across borders. We need to build an international consensus for human-centric artificial intelligence. So I am really excited to follow this discussion today. I already learned so much, so I'm looking forward to learning even more and to get inspired by all my like-minded partners here in Singapore and beyond. So I wish you all an inspiring conference, and I will listen carefully to what you have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandra, for joining us. It was absolutely a pleasure to have you today on the World AI Show. Thank you once again for your time.